Hello, and welcome back to the When We Were Kids, a Time Capsule Toys podcast. Once again, as always, sponsored by Time Capsule Toys and Monsters in the Toy Box. I am Rick, here with BJ. And we are here to go over lots of stuff from when we were kids, random thoughts, wrestling probably at some point in time, because somehow it always comes up. But I kind of have a theme. I won't say it's a theme. It just kind of happened this way for this episode. I was having a conversation yesterday, and I have written down my notes about fast food when we were kids. And because we had a discussion about how fast food French fries are terrible. They're not good anymore. They used to be really good. And then I was like trying to explain it. And then I said, the best way I can explain it is this. Remember back in the day, like Wendy's French fries now are terrible. This is why I had a conversation with my friend Greg. Wendy's French fries are terrible. They were good at one point in time. Do you know when that one point in time was? Let's see if I can jog your memory here.
They switched it fairly. Well, they switched them a couple times, haven't they? But I think they switched them fairly recently, where they just became like, yeah, these are terrible now. That was like within the last like 10 years, though, wasn't it? And then, back in the day, I don't remember because I don't think I ate Wendy's until I was probably in high school. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, they might have been. I mean, so whatever from that point. But if it was like way back when we were kids, then I don't know.
It was back when Wendy's had the yellow containers.
Okay.
For everything. That's when their French fries were the best. Like when you get Biggie size and all that stuff. And I tried to explain it to my girlfriend, and she was like, she had no clue what I was talking about. And I'm like, I showed her a picture of like the yellow cartons and everything. She goes, we didn't eat fast food growing up. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, back in the day, that's when Wendy's French fries were good. Was when you had the yellow containers for everything. The yellow cups, the yellow fry containers, everything was yellow. That's when Wendy's was good. I mean, their fries were good. Because then when you go back to also when we were kids, McDonald's French fries were actually fried in animal fat, which a lot of people don't know.
That's probably made them good.
That's what made them good.
Yeah.
There was a show called I think it was called like Tasting History. And they went back through and talked about that. And they made French fries the way they used to be made at McDonald's. And they're like, oh my God, these taste completely different. These taste so much better. Because the fries now at McDonald's are straight garbage.
Yeah.
But if you go through like every fast food place now, their fries are trash. Like they obviously, McDonald's had to change their formula because vegetarians don't want to be eating something being cooked in animal fat.
I mean, I feel like if you're a vegetarian, like I get some people just do it for the whole animal rights aspect of it or whatever, but like I feel like that's a step toward like health that like you shouldn't be eating McDonald's anyway.
Exactly.
or fast food anyway. You know what I mean?
My whole thing with vegetarians, which I always wondered, was if you're so against eating like anything that had a face, okay, that's cool. But like you're eating French fries that are cooked with like chicken. Like there was raw chicken in this fryer at one point in time, and now you're basically eating the raw chicken anyways because you're eating French fries.
Right.
I don't know, that's always been my thought. But and then another thing with McDonald's is McDonald's. A lot of people. This will be a big trigger for a lot of people. Going to do you remember when you used to go to McDonald's when you were a kid?
Yeah.
What do you remember about it?
When you were like a little kid, it was always a Happy Meal. You always wanted a Happy Meal with a toy and whatever else. So yeah, that was it. But yeah, I remember having a birthday party at McDonald's back in the day too. Friends having birthday parties at McDonald's back in the day. That was like a big thing growing up.
Yeah, because like I don't know if you remember in the Eastwood Mall, the McDonald's we had there and the inside of it. That place was like and that's the whole thing with McDonald's. It used to be an experience. And now it's not at all.
No.
There's nothing. There's nothing remotely. The only experience you have there is bad and it's more likely food poisoning. McDonald's back then was an experience because you had all those all the characters. Ronald McDonald, Grimace, Birdie, Mayor McCheese. You had Big Mac, the Fry Guys, which I actually collect Fry Guys. Who else? Oh, the Chicken McNuggets. Oh my God, there was that pirate. I forget what his name was.
Hamburglar.
Oh, there's the Hamburglar.
There was a pirate too?
There was a pirate too.
I don't remember the pirate. Who was the pirate?
I don't even remember. I don't think he lasted very long. But like that McDonald's in the Eastwood Mall was like ridiculous. You walked in and it was like a fun house pretty much. It had like the play area in like the middle. The seats were like Fry Guys. They had that big, terrifying tree on the wall that had the big nose, the eyes, and all that stuff. Like that's like every McDonald's you'd go to, even the play places outside were awesome because they had like actually a toy shop up in Detroit had it. I think they had sold it actually. It was the Big Mac jail cell from the playground. And then, like, they had those weird bouncy spring things that were either Fry Guys, Birdie, or whatever.
It was like a mini theme park every time you went to eat.
When you would,
Happy Meals or whatever.
You would be mad because you could only do it for like 2 to 3 months out of the year because the rest of the time it was either raining or snow. Right. So like, you had to hit that sweet spot of McDonald's. But like, that's the thing with McDonald's. McDonald's was like the one fast food place that was kind of like an experience. To now where you go there, there's nothing.
No, it's not.
It's so blah. The food is terrible.
It's here, take your crap and get out of here.
Yeah, it's like take your garbage, take your food poison, get out of here. The fries are awful. The burgers have changed so much, it's not even funny.
I can't remember the last time I ate at McDonald's, to be honest with you. It's been a long time.
Me and my kids just went there like last week. It was so bad.
Yeah,
I got like a McDouble and a small fry. And I was like, this all tastes like garbage. The fries have literally no taste. The burgers, they put something on them now. And it's just gross. And I don't know what it's like. There's special seasoning, which might just be them not cleaning the grill.
Probably.
But it's gross. It is flat out gross. The only good for McDonald's is their Sprite. There's McDonald's Sprite tastes better than any other Sprite, and I do not understand why.
Fountain Pop. I think there was a clip about I saw a line about why Fountain Pop tastes better for whatever reason, whether it's Coke or Sprite or whatever. So there's something with it that you know what I mean, depending on where you're at. But yeah,
Wendy's it does not taste better. Wendy's because they have that I call it the futuristic pop machine, where you can like mix all those flavors. So it doesn't matter what you get because it's not going to taste like what it's supposed to taste like because they use all the same tubes for everything. So it just tastes like sewage water. But McDonald's was an experience. Like Burger King had its point in time when they did the Burger King Kids Club. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't remember that at all, no.
So it was, I think it was like 4 characters they had. There was the one that everyone thought was cool. He wore like these VR goggles pretty much and had a backwards hat and wore knee pads. I don't know what his name was. There was a kid, I think he called him Wheels. He was in a wheelchair.
This has got to be 90s, right?
Yeah. And then there was a redheaded tomboy. And then I think there was like one more. Oh, and you had to have, it wasn't politically correct unless you had your, like, one kid of a different race.
Yeah.
And it's always an Afro-American kid, like an African-American boy with a flat top. Always. It was like the 90s thing. Like every cartoon had an Afro-American kid with a flat top.
Speaking of, on the cover.
Exactly. On the cover of Captain Planet, African-American kid with a flat top.
Yep, there he is.
It's like none of them had a different haircut. It's like the biggest stereotype, and it drove me insane.
Yeah.
But the Burger King Kids Club was like its generation of like Ronald McDonald and their crew. But it didn't last long. But if you go to, it's like the Burger King, I want to say it's in Niles, but it's like on the edge of Niles and Warren. They still have the Burger King Kids Club playground rules hanging up, but then they have the new set of rules hanging up, and it takes everything in me not to just go in there and cut down the Burger King Kids Club one and just take it home. Because like these kids don't know who these are.
Yeah.
They have no nostalgia to it. Just let me take it and give it a good home. But that was their area. And like I said, it didn't last very long. Like, it had to have lasted probably, I don't know, maybe 2 to 3 years if I had to guess.
Did any other fast food places have, like, kids clubs like that or, like, something similar to that? Were there any other ones that did, like, or try to do?
Wendy's really didn't do anything, to my knowledge. They had, like, like, everyone had their own version of a Happy Meal with a different name. But, like, back in the day, there was only one point in time that, in my opinion, you wanted Wendy's as a kid. Is when, I don't know why or how this even happened, McDonald's did their changeables, which were like little robots that were like cheeseburgers that turned into whatever, or a milkshake that turned into a Tyrannosaurus Rex, stuff like that. And to this day, those sell like crazy. People love those things. Wendy's had GoBots at one point in time. And it was like mind-boggling to me. I'll never forget the one time I went to this Wendy's as a kid and I got GoBot. I was like so ecstatic because I was like, "Oh my god, awesome toys!" Which goes back to now too. No one has good toys, and they're giving out like Pokemon cards at McDonald's now. Or when the that last Avengers movie came out, they had those stupid little things that didn't do anything. They just kind of stood there and you connected them all, and they were just standing in a line.
Are they getting rid of all the little toys because they're choke hazards? Maybe is that like
no? It's just I think it's just cost of everything. Like back in the day, like I said, McDonald's had changeables, which they brought those back for a very, very short time when they did that 50 years of McDonald's or whatever it was. And like Wendy's had the GoBots. Wendy's had, every now and again I see them, they're like, based on their food, they're like pullbacks. So there's like a croissant sandwich.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But like McDonald's toys back in the day were the best toys. Because you had, there was a line that was Garfield, where Garfield came with either a scooter, a skateboard, or whatever else.
Didn't they do a Ghostbusters tie-in for a little while too? Like, wasn't the High C like Ecto Cooler for a little bit at McDonald's, or no?
It might have been Burger King.
I thought somebody had a Ghostbusters tie-in though. I vaguely remember that.
It might have been Burger King.
Gotcha.
Because I think it was Burger King. It might have been McDonald's. Because what else? McDonald's did like He-Man 2000X. Taco Bell at one point in time had Goosebumps.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all. I don't remember Taco Bell having any kind of toys, or whatever. But although I don't remember Taco Bell really being that prominent until, I mean, it was around, but we never went to Taco Bell. Like, there was that one on 224 in Boardman where it was old. It's still there, I think, but it was like, it looked like the old Taco Bell.
Yeah,
and everybody can remember what those looked like. Where before they turned everything like 90s colors and got like neon blue and whatever.
I want 90s Taco Bells to come back. Those were the time of I remember Taco Bells like this, looking like an old Mexican hut on the outside, and then you walk in, it was nothing but bright pink, teal.
Well, I remember
the one on Elm Road very distinctively, because I used to go there with my cousin and my aunt and my uncle all the time, and it just stuck out so much. And that's like, I loved like restaurants in the 90s were the best, like hands down, because like even this proves a point big time. On Elm Road, the Pizza Hut there is now called a classic.
Yeah. They
went back to the red cups, the chandeliers. They went back to what it looked like in the 90s. That's how every restaurant should be. If you were around the 90s, just change everything back.
They should. Everybody would go to them.
I know. And that's why that Pizza Hut's busy. Because if you go to the other Pizza Huts, no one's ever there. It's like you're not going for the food.
No.
You're going for the ambiance.
Right.
The ambiance of this is what it looked like when I was a kid. And this is why I remember it tasting good. Because Pizza Hut pizza does not taste like Pizza Hut pizza anymore.
I remember my dad going with us to pizza, or take us to Pizza Hut as kids, and we'd be just sitting there playing video games on the thing or whatever, eating our personal pan pizzas, and he'd have a big beer, those big red cups, but it was full of beer. So they're drinking beers.
Sitting there, your dad only brought you there because you filled out your Book It program.
We did that, yeah. My dad's getting drunk while we play video games. Yeah.
But Taco Bell, that's why I remember there. Burger King never, in my opinion, if I could think about it, Burger King never had a distinctive 90s look. It's always been like
not
the trashy
really.
stepbrother of McDonald's.
Yeah, it never. You're right. It never really did have a look to it necessarily. It was just kind of like, this is Burger King. Like, it wasn't like wild one way or the other. Yeah.
Wendy's never really had a look. The Wendy's look was the yellow everything. But I'm trying to think. Yeah, like none of the other fast food places I can even think of. Like KFC's always been red and white.
I'm trying to think of other like offshoot ones that I went to as a kid. I didn't really start going like Arby's wasn't really around until you got in the 90s. But then I remember Hardee's back in the day had
Hardee's.
Had
there used to be a
stuff.
Hardee's in Warren we used to go to, and I loved it. Unfortunately, they closed it, and God only knows what the hell it is now. But it's funny you bring up Arby's because Arby's is here on my list for one reason. It had to be a very special occasion for you in my household for us to get Arby's. You know what that special occasion was?
What's that?
The 5 for $5.
Oh yeah, we always did the 5 for $5. Yeah, my
friggin'
Mom
Arby's.
would come up with a sack of
Arby's
those. Yeah,
back in the
dinner.
day, Arby's was considered like the high end of fast food. Like Arby's used to have those. I call them like sunrooms. Every Arby's had a giant ass sunroom in the front of it that you wanted to eat in, but your parents were like, "No, we're going to the drive-thru. We're getting 5 roast beef sandwiches."
Right.
Like your dad gets 2, and each one of you get 1, and your mom gets 1.
Right.
I knew a guy. It was this kid I used to be friends with. His dad, when they did 5 for $5, he would buy $20 worth and freeze them. Because he never knew when they were coming back.
That deal was around for a while. They brought it back all the time, though. I feel like that was always around. You know what I mean?
Because it was the only way to get people there. Because
how much more was it when it wasn't 5 for $5? Like 5 for $6? Like it was like that much
it
dollar.
It was like a huge.
It was close.
It was a huge deal to where they made like advertisements and everything else for it. Cue someone actually pausing this right now to go look up old 5 for $5 commercials. Because I remember I made a post on Facebook a couple years ago that said, I said something like, times have changed when Arby's is no longer 5 for $5, and I think it was like 5 for $10.
Is it even that cheap now?
No, not now. No.
Yeah, because I think I saw. I was looking at Arby's coupons in the mail the other day, whatever, and it was like some big deal. I was like, Jesus, this is how much this shit costs now.
How long is a roast beef sandwich? It's not even that good of a roast beef sandwich. The bun is always dry. That's probably why they probably expect you to drown in that gross ass Arby's sauce. I hate that stuff. It's so nasty. My dad would load his up. I'll never forget.
Arby's sauce is all right, but every time you bit on the thing, it just went everywhere.
It went everywhere because it was so runny.
Yeah.
My dad would load up on Arby's sauce and horsey sauce, then complain that no one else in the house wanted horsey sauce. It's like, because horseradish is gross.
I didn't start liking horseradish sauce or anything like that until I was an adult. As a kid, I hated it. Like I was like,
the smell is
even like tartar sauce I didn't like on filet of fishes or whatever as a kid. I was like, this is just now I like it, but like it, yeah, it was until I was an adult before I liked either one of those things.
So Arby's is the high end.
Man, it made me hungry for fast food now. I'm gonna go try this and be completely disappointed this afternoon. I'm gonna do a drive.
Arby's
sucks.
Arby's is never good though either. I always crave Arby's. I get there, I go, God, this isn't good.
Some Arby's stuff, like I'll get a Reuben there every once in a while, and that's okay. But that's about it. Like, but it's like $9 on a sandwich at Arby's. Like, this is
my go-to at Arby's when it first came out was a chicken bacon and Swiss.
Yeah, I remember getting a ton in college.
And those things, like I would live off of them in high school because they were so good. I got one. I haven't ordered one probably about the last year or two. Oh my God, they're awful. They changed the chicken now, and the chicken's now like this thin. It used to be like this, and now it's like this, and it just tastes like it's all dried out triple fried breading. It's so nasty. The bacon tastes like they just found it under the fryer, and I'm just like,
yeah, no,
it's like I paid $12 for this.
Yeah, no, that's
because I remember they used to do the 2 for $5s. This is going back to me being in high school. They used to do the 2 for $5s, so I always get. You can mix and match your sandwiches, but I'd always get 2 chicken, bacon, and Swisses. But yeah, now it's just Arby's. Like Arby's not even considered high end anymore because it's just kind of it's just Arby's. I don't even know if there's a fast food that you would consider high end now at this point in time.
I've thought about this the other day. It would have to be like you're getting into like places that are like more like carry out places, you know what I mean, like Five Guys or stuff like that. But I mean that's just expensive, you know, for what it is, for burgers or whatever. Too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what would be considered a high end fast food now, like Chipotle or whatever. You know, people think that is, although Chipotle I think is the most disgusting shit ever.
I just ate it yesterday. Let me tell you, it was a bad decision.
Always a bad decision. I always feel like my guts
I wanted
are
it so bad. I'm like, oh man, Chipotle sounds real good today.
what
And I got it.
There's
And I'm like, oh, this was a bad choice.
There's some sort of preservative in that just makes me ill. So yeah, it's like, oh yeah, this tastes good. Then I'm like, this is this is a mistake.
I had
So
Chipotle
never
last
Chipotle.
week. It was probably the last 2 trips I had to the Cortland Chipotle were 2 of the worst trips to a Chipotle I've ever had. The one, my rice was crunchy. Then I was like, I'll give them another try. So a week later, I go back. It was greasy. How is it greasy? Like you cooked the shit on a grill. It was like there was just so much grease in the bottom of my burrito bowl. I'm like, where did this come from?
Another one that is like all trendy, I guess would be considered high end, which is Panera, which I think Panera is complete garbage.
Oh, Panera's trash.
And it's a fortune at Panera, and it's not good.
If you want a breakfast sandwich, it's $9.
Yeah.
And it's the size of this mouse.
Yeah, Panera is garbage.
But the king of the trash restaurants, I will say this: I've never eaten at one. Anytime I've thought about eating at one, I would stop there to use the restroom. I'd walk in and see how gross it is, and then I'd walk into the bathroom, and you would multiply that by 10 to describe the bathroom. Would be Jack in the Box.
I've never eaten at a Jack in the Box. No.
That and their mascot is terrifying.
Yeah, it is terrifying. That weird clown thing or whatever the hell it is.
It's like a combination between a clown and a snowman.
Yeah.
And he's just, his voice, if you ever seen any of the commercials, his voice is just terrifying. But every time I walk into one, I go, I think it's going to be the day I try Jack in the Box. I walk in and go, oh my God, I think there's actually rats behind the counter serving people.
What was the fast food restaurant in the 80s and it went out of business? They had like a salad bar. They had all kinds of stuff. And like the mascot was like I think it was like a little dude with like a briefcase. And he talked like he had a real low voice, whatever. It went out of, like it failed miserably. But it was around for a couple years and like the ads were everywhere. But I can't remember. I just watched a video on this on that.
Hold on, let's find this out. Fast food with what did it have?
It was like 80s fast food. It had but yeah, they had like a
salad bar.
It was a salad bar. The mascot was real weird, but it had like this.
It's Rax.
It is Rex. There it is with that dude, with the dude in the brief. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we found that.
All right. BJ, come back to now.
Yeah.
Okay, we just did a lot of research. It was Rax. R-A-X. A little guy, little balding man with glasses, wearing a how do I even describe?
Yeah, and if I remember the commercials right, he talked to you like you were an idiot, and so like he was like insulting to you as well. But it was like, why do they think this was gonna work? And they had like way too much shit on the menu.
Well, it was Rax, fast food with style.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
and the endless salad bar.
That's it.
Which, in the research I was doing over here, I did not know Burger King also has a salad bar. For a short time, I guess.
I think I remember the Burger King salad bar briefly.
I know Wendy's had one.
Yeah. Wendy's still has one, don't they? Or did everybody get rid of it after COVID? We're like, oh, we're not doing this anymore.
That salad bar was gone for a long time. I think salad bars ended when all those buffets started popping up all over the place. And they probably realized no one was going there for a salad bar when they had like Ponderosa and Old Country Buffet. But yeah, Jack in the Box was. I never ate there because it was so. Every time I'd walk in, and it was like, I don't know what looks nastier, the cleanliness or the people.
You know what fast food restaurant always seemed like a good idea, and you got it, and it was just completely disgusting and terrible, was Rally's. Anything Rally's was like, it was like you see the commercials, be like, this looks great, and then you would go to the drive-thru, and they would just huck that shit at you like they wanted you out of there immediately, and you get like, what is it? It was just a total mess at the bottom of the bag. It like leaked through the bottom of the bag. It was so disgusting.
I have a really good story about Rally's. So there used to be the Rally's in front of the Eastwood Mall. So this was in the 90s. To get my dad to go through a drive-thru was a huge ordeal in itself because my dad hates talking to literally anybody. So we go to Rally's. He's sitting at the menu where you're supposed to place your order. There's nothing. No one says anything. He gets irritated. Drives to the window. Waits there. Person finally comes up and goes, "Did you place your order?" He goes, "No," because no one said anything to me. I was sitting there, and the person goes, "You have to go in reverse and place your order through the intercom." My dad goes, "I am here already. Just take my order." They refused. My dad got so mad that we left, and we never went to Rally's again. And then they ended up like bulldozing it. Or whatever. But now there's a Rally's in Niles. There's also Rally's in Warren. The Rally's in Niles is right by where I used to live. And I will tell you this. It is way better now, actually, than when we were little. I mean, the food's actually hot. And they don't throw it at you. So I can't really say it's better in the sense of food quality. But in customer service and actual hot food, it's better. Like they make the fries fresh all the time. They're always like scolding freaking hot.
The only one that I remember going to was the one on Market Street, and it was scary. Like it was scary to pull in there. It was scary, whatever. It was like, I'm pretty sure the glass was like bulletproof on the thing, like they had because it got robbed all the time. Like
the one in
rob Rally's. Like if you're gonna take the time to rob something, why don't you go rob something decent? Like
they built the Rally's in Niles, and because it took so long to open, someone shot out the window.
Yeah.
Like, that's the clientele that Rally's brings. Is I'm mad that I can't get my food, so I'm going to shoot out your window.
Give me that big Buford.
They still got it. But, yeah, Rally's, the fries actually aren't that bad anymore. You can buy them frozen, too.
One we used to kill all the time, I remember when I was a freshman in college, was Mr. Hero, because that was on YSU campus, whatever. And so we ate Mr. Hero all the time. Mr. Hero had pasta. So I get pasta. They had the Roman burger.
Why would you go to a sandwich place and get the pasta?
I always get the pasta, and then
that's a big rule I have.
They had, and then the Roman burger, which always was like, in theory, if they made it correctly, it would be good. But you'd always go. It was always a big, just complete disgusting mess. But then the waffle fries. That was one of the first places I remember had waffle fries all the time.
Mrs. Dad owns a chain of Mr. Heroes. Speaking of Mr. Heroes, this just popped in my head because the next thing I wanted to talk about was. Every episode now, I want to talk about old commercials. And I don't know why you saying Mr. Hero just triggered this memory in my head of the old Quiznos commercials, of those hamster things with the giant bug eyes playing guitars.
They were, yeah.
I had Quiznos once. Terrible. Messiest sandwich. They made it all wrong.
See,
it was so expensive
Quiznos,
for something the size of my wallet.
Quiznos is, this one isn't even that old, but... Yeah, Quiznos, like, people franchised way too many of them way too fast because, like, everyone's like, oh, this is great, whatever, the Quiznos. And then there was a Quiznos everywhere all of a sudden. And then but then people were like, oh, yeah, this is too expensive. So they went back to crappy Subway, which is god-awful, too. It's a whole other conversation. But Quiznos, yeah, the stupid commercials, I don't know what the hell those those stupid things were, or what they were to move subs or whatever. But yeah, I like Quiznos for a little bit, but yeah, but then I have no idea. And then it just got expensive, and it got to be
I think
overkill.
I once paid it was like $12 for, like I said, something the size of my wallet, and it was so messy. They made it all completely wrong. I just threw it in the garbage. But yeah, I went to every episode now. Here, I want to go over some old commercials. I thought about this morning. I wrote down 3 commercials in general. You can chime in with any other commercials you remember. But I chose 3 strange commercials that I'm just like, why did they think these were good ideas? Number 1, Gushers. They showed the kids eating them, and their heads would turn into whatever flavor it was, like a grape or a blueberry or a strawberry, and they looked terrifying. And that was a huge 90s thing I remember, was having kids' heads morph into shit. And I watched it this morning. I'm like, these commercials are so weird. How was this supposed to sell anything?
Yeah, Gushers were gross too. I never liked Gushers.
Well, here's the thing. The commercial made me have my mom buy them for me. Mind you, I mentioned this before. I don't like fruit snacks. I hate the texture of them. They're gross. They're gummy. They're weird. I don't like them. Gushers, I got those thinking they were going to be different. Oh, they were different, all right. It was like biting into a zit.
Yeah, it's pretty much what it is.
You'd bite into it and just splurt your mouth, and I just like,
yeah, Gushers were disgusting. I'm not sure who thought that was a good idea.
They're just gross.
I'm pretty sure they used what was in a Gusher was just you remember those Little Hugs drinks? I'm pretty sure they just used unsold Little Hugs and just filled all the Gushers with the unsold Little Hugs.
It wasn't as liquidy. You know what I mean? It was kind of like a gel or something. I don't know. They were gross.
They were gross, yeah.
My mom would be like, "Why aren't you eating your Gushers? I had to pay $2.50 for those." And now they're probably freaking $7. Another commercial that I thought of, which somehow spawned a toy line because kids must have really was hoping to get injured. Crash Test Dummies.
Oh yeah, those are. Yeah, I'm not sure why they had the talking dummies. They murdered every they made them like humans, and they're just getting killed and everything.
Yeah, so their heads fly off, arms fly off, whatever. Make sure you put on your seatbelt.
Crawling out of the car all dead, their legs.
I watched another one of those commercials this morning, and I was like, this commercial for Crash Test Dummies is so morbid.
They were messed up.
And they were always super, the lighting was very dark. And I'm like, what possessed you to think we should make toys for these?
Yeah, why did it ever get popular? Did it ever get popular, or did they just make toys and nobody bought them? I mean,
I don't know. They made a lot of toys. They made a baby.
Yeah,
they made a dog. They made a cat. They made the 2 main guys. I think they gave them 3 friends. There was 2 bad guys. There was the car. There was a bulldozer. There was an airplane. There was a play set. I'm sure there's something else I'm forgetting.
I mean, the whole point.
They made stuffed animals that you could rip the heads and arms and legs off of.
I mean, the whole point is to kill a Crash Test Dummy. How's that a toy you play with? You killed this toy.
The whole thing in Crash Test Dummies is to protect your life and to tell you that you shouldn't drive head on into walls. Shit like that.
Pretty much.
And you make it so dark and disturbing. And they're like, let's give it a toy line.
Yeah, I'm not sure whose idea that was.
And I was like, because I watched it this morning. And I'm just like, I don't get this literally at all. Who thought this was a good idea? The other commercial, because I was trying to find something, because we always talk about video games. And I'll start off by saying this. TurboGrafx, this is what the topic is going to be, had commercials that would literally make you not want to buy their game system. They were terrible. I watched 3 of them. And I'm like, this doesn't do anything. Oh, cool. It's I don't know. It wasn't exactly a floppy disk.
It was a card.
Yeah, it was like a card disc.
It's like a card thing you inserted into the thing, yeah.
But I'm like, that was their big. If you watch the commercials for it, that was their big thing. It's a card. Who gives two flying shits if it's a card?
I don't remember. I remember the TurboGrafx-16 commercials vaguely, but I remember them not showing a whole lot of game footage. It was just like all surrounding like 90 shit where everything explodes. But like the whole point of the thing was it was the first 16-bit system, so show the graphics. The graphics weren't bad on it. I mean, they look good.
The one I actually
for the time they were great.
The one I actually saw showed someone playing a TurboGrafx. It was two guys. And they showed certain gameplay of certain games, and it didn't look bad. But the problem was like the commercials did nothing for the game system. They just focused on it being a card. Then I was like, there has to be something that for TurboGrafx that had to make people buy this system. And then I stumbled upon the commercial for one game.
It was Bonk.
Splatterhouse.
Splatterhouse.
How are you pushing this game to kids?
Oh yeah.
Like they show the barefoot guy sawing logs, like literally sawing actual like pieces of wood, and go, "You have a 2x4 to beat your enemies," and they're showing him beating people with a 2x4, and I'm just like, they're like Splatterhouse. I'm like, no wonder why this system failed. I couldn't even find a Bonk commercial.
That system, yeah, it came and went real fast because it was like the first one, but then immediately Sega and Super Nintendo just annihilated it and it was gone. Because I remember buying it as a kid because it was going out of business and they stopped making games for it. And you could get the system cheaper than you get Bonk's Adventure. That was the only game. It was still $50. The system was only $40. I think I paid at Toys R Us for it at the time. So it was like, but I never had Bonk's Adventure because it was like it cost more than the whole system did.
And that's the thing, like with those video game systems when they first came out, they were astronomically priced. Like Nintendo was affordable, Sega was affordable. Then you had 3DO.
TurboGrafx, I think it was like a couple $100 when it first came out, I believe.
Yeah, it was like $200 or $300. And then you're like, this $200 or $300, and the games were like $70 or $80. Then like Sega and Nintendo stuff was like $100, $125, and then their games were $50. But then you had like the 3DO that's like $500, and the games were $100 a piece.
Yeah.
To where this kid, I was friends with in high school, like they got one for Christmas and they were stoked, and all they got was golf. And they asked their dad like, "Where's the other games?" At his dad was like, "It costs $100 a piece."
Yeah.
He goes, "You got golf."
That's it.
And then there was like the Jaguar that had the worst controller ever. It looked like a telephone. It had like 17 buttons on it. That system was once again like $300-$400. And I don't even remember what the main standout game for Jaguar even was.
I don't know if they had a signature game or not.
Because like that's the whole thing with Nintendo. Nintendo had Mario. PlayStation had Crash, Bandicoot. Sega had Sonic. TurboGrafx had Bonk. But you couldn't afford to play Bonk because you couldn't afford the system. And when you bought the system, you couldn't afford the game. It was just, and then 3DO, was it 3DO? There was one game ever. A lot of people don't know this. There was one Zelda game that came out for a different system that never came out on Nintendo. I think it came out for 3DO.
That I don't know.
And it did terrible because the game was awful. And no one bought it. Probably because no one could afford the system.
Right.
But, yeah, but Splatterhouse, I'm just like, you're trying, like, video game systems were meant for kids. And you're like, you put a commercial out for Splatterhouse.
That was the beginning of, like, we talked about this before with comics and stuff and everything else, too. That was the beginning of putting, like, making stuff way more R-rated, but still targeting it to teens or whatever,
yeah.
too, or where things got, all the female characters got way more risque, and then everything else got super gory and stuff, too, around that time. So that was probably the precursor to Mortal Kombat and all that sort of stuff, too.
Yeah, which, you bringing up comic books leads us to our next segment. Comic book ads.
Comic book ads. So I got a story about this one. This will have to be another segment, too. So this is the first issue of Beavis and Butthead, right? So was there anything growing up that you bought that you thought for sure you were going to be able to sell later one day, or it was going to make you rich?
Oh, I'm sure there was.
Toy-wise, card-wise, comic-wise. Because this comic was one of them.
There's a couple things that come to mind when I was a kid that I thought were going to be worth a bunch of money. I didn't hold on to them very long. One of them was those old Fleer baseball cards that were yellow.
Mm. I had a bunch, yeah.
I had so many of them. Oh my God. That Hank Aaron set that came out was like 4 or 5 cards.
Mm. There were a ton.
My uncle made me buy a set of them off of him because he said they were worth so much money.
We'll have to save this topic for another episode. And just do baseball cards that we thought were going to make us rich, because there's 100 of them I can name right now of players, and certain ones. Oh, but everybody wanted these cards, whatever, and they're all fucking worthless.
I'll never
now.
forget the one I'll leave it with this. The one card I wanted most as a kid that I thought was going to be worth a ton of money, which I'm not even sure if it's worth a dime right now, is that Frank Thomas White Sox card where he's giving the finger.
Mm. There are a lot, yeah. Well, this could be a whole segment, because I could bring in a lot of cards, and so because I have a lot of these cards, dig out baseball cards that we thought were going to make us rich. But so, a comic that I thought was going to be super expensive was the first issue of Beavis and Butthead, right? Do you remember Hot Shots? You remember the store Hot Shots? It was in Boardman. It was right next to where New York Music was, in that plaza.
No, I don't.
So it was
remember.
a comic shop. It was a comic and card shop there. It was only there for a year or two, whatever, but I bought this there. So Beavis and Butthead came out, right? This was super popular, and they were they're going to do a comic book from it. And I remember going in and look at the price on the comic, and then the sticker price, because that's the sleeve that it came in and everything too.
$1.95 US.
Mm-hmm.
And he was charging $7.50.
And I paid $7.50 for it. He's like, it's for sure going to go up in value. It's already worth 10 times that. I remember the guy telling me that in the store. It's worth $2 today. It's exactly the same shit.
Now,
But anyway,
how
the story of
much
Beavis and Butthead.
is Captain Planet #1?
Man, Captain Planet sucked. That's why.
I heard they're supposedly going to be remaking it.
Why? That was terrible. Did anybody like Captain Planet? Actually,
I used to watch it.
I mean, I remember it was on. I remember seeing it on, but I remember being like, "Why? What?"
I used to watch it all the time.
Educational cartoon.
It had good figures and good toys, but like, I don't know. It was one of those weird toy lines where you had to be like super, super, super into it to get anything for it. But I was never that into it. I just liked watching it.
Yeah. All right, we'll start off here with this issue of Beavis and Butthead. So on the back, an ad for the soundtrack, the Beavis and Butthead Experience. Remember this soundtrack? Did you have this one?
Yes.
I still have this CD at home.
I bought it. It was one of my 10 or 12 CDs from Columbia House.
Yeah.
They're probably still hounding me for. They're still trying to track me down in collections.
The album featuring all new music from a bunch of bands that don't suck. So it was Aerosmith, Anthrax, Beavis and Butthead, Cher with Beavis and Butthead, Jackal, Megadeth, Jackal plug. We're opening for Jackal. March 15, the Jurgles, Megadeth, Nirvana, Primus, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Run DMC, Sir Mix-a-Lot, and White Zombie.
I would never understand why Cher's on there.
Yeah, she agreed. I don't know why she agreed to that, but yeah, Cher.
I want to know how many people actually got this poster when they bought Home Alone.
That's got to be out there. Has that walked into the shop yet?
No, I've never seen it. I didn't even know it existed until I just opened this.
That's got to be out there.
I'm guessing $5 Pepsi rebate.
I'm guessing that goes for big money if you can find that
anywhere.
anywhere.
Relive the fun with the great burglar trap poster. I'm sure someone out there has it. Bring it to me. I demand it.
And we get another one here. This is for Guns N' Roses, the Spaghetti Incident.
Which was the weirdest title ever.
The Guns N' Roses cover album. Which was okay.
Here you go. One of my favorite toy lines. Bill and Ted's. But this is for the video game for Nintendo and Game Boy.
I recall that game being terrible, but
from what I can tell, the game from the stills, the Game Boy one looks somehow worse than the than the Nintendo one.
All right, here we have one for the Super Nintendo ad. Battles are won with bullets. Wars are won with brains. For Mech Warrior from Activision for Super Nintendo. Do you remember this? I don't remember this game at all.
I remember seeing it. I never played it. That's around the time I want to say that mechs became like a huge thing in like pop culture. Mm-hmm. Even the bad guys look up to him. It doesn't tell you what game it is. It's just a Spider-Man game, but it doesn't tell you the name of the game.
It's a problem with all these ads, man. Like they don't give you the title of the game.
But
like,
they give you 3 paragraphs.
But yeah, there's no.
I'm just like, what game is this? This is just Spider-Man? I'm guessing it's just Spider-Man for Sega.
So here's another beat-em-up game for Sega. To prepare for Eternal Champions, use Street Fighter 2 as your training wheels. So this is for an ad for Eternal Champions. I don't remember Eternal Champions for Sega.
I remember that game. It is probably the most common game for Sega that I come across besides Sonic 2.
Mm. So apparently a lot of people had that one.
Yeah. You remember Crunch, Oomph, Wham, Fleer, better than ever.
Football cards.
Yeah. They had the hitters, David Fulcher, defensive back, Warren Moon, Oilers QB, Howie Long, Leon Seals, Dan Marino. Oh, yeah, this book's from 1991, by the way.
I think this has got to be 94, Beavis and Butthead, right? March 94. So Marvel Comics comes to your computer screen with Marvel screen posters. So yeah, they're screensavers. I don't know if you remember these, but yeah, for $14.99, so it's $15 to get for Windows and Macintosh. You get your screensavers for $15. Remember when screensavers were a thing? Like
yes,
you buy screensavers.
That was ridiculous. The fact that you had to buy screensavers when you literally could have made your own. Yeah. I forgot all about having to buy. I forgot all about screensavers, let alone forgetting to having to buy them. This is call 1-900-288 X-Men and battle the X-Men's deadliest enemies. It gives you instructions on what buttons you have to hit to be what X-Men, and you battle on the phone against their villains. But let me tell you this.
So you battle.
I am thrilled with this ad because they're giving Sauron major page time with people such as Juggernaut and Magneto. Sauron's one of my favorite X-Men villains.
So you call 1-900 line and then press buttons to battle the
battle the press villains. 1. Time between 2 to 4 seconds.
How much is that a minute? I'm guessing 99 cents and then $2.99 per minute after or whatever.
There's a lot of writing here.
Yeah, this a lot of liability.
It's voided in Maryland, Arizona, Virginia, and Georgia. Where the...
Yeah, I wonder what that costs.
I'm trying to find it. There's a lot of writing here. Close.
Well, you look for that. Yeah.
Jesus. Oh, I found it. Each calls $1.75 for the first minute. 75 cents for each additional.
Yeah, you could be on there.
Maximum length of call is 4 minutes.
Well, all right. At least it's not. At least they don't string you on there for an hour or whatever. All right, so you have Mega Man X, an ad from Capcom for Super Nintendo. This couldn't wait till the 21st century. I was never in any of the Mega Mans. I didn't have any of them, so
yeah, the ones for SNES are pricey. The priciest is X-Men or Mega Man X3 because they did 3 of the X games.
Okay, here's one. I don't remember this at all. So wake up and smell the 90s, right? This is the ad with Wolverine. This is for the Swedish metal band Entombed, called Wolverine Blues. The savage to the extreme sound of Sweden's Entombed, a sonic assault that's guaranteed to leave claw marks. So yeah, if
number one, I did not know Entombed made a Wolverine album.
I guess
and I don't know a lot about Entombed, but
I guess they did. See Entombed on tour throughout the 90s.
they're still around.
Yeah, I think they are still around.
Here, someone track us down these sweet shirts. Got Hulk, Captain America, Beast, and Spider-Man. I guarantee that these are worth a shit ton of money now, because they were only $1.50, and $3 shipping handling. And mind you, the California sales tax is bananas. All right, right now the sales tax in Ohio is, I believe it's 3.65%. This is 1991. The sales tax for California residents, 7.75%. Find me these shirts. I know they're worth probably a shitload of money. And I will never probably ever see any of them.
All right, last one here. This is another music one. So yeah, they're laying into the music ads for Beavis and Butthead, obviously, because they had the videos and stuff on the show. But this is from Atlantic Records. This is a weird looking ad. You're already going blind, now you're going to go deaf. So it advertises new albums from Rush, the Melvins, King's X, Bad Religion, and Jawbox. Although you wouldn't know, based on that ad, that any of those bands are part of it unless you go in and read it. It's a very generic, very 90s looking ad.
But it's just so weird because it doesn't look like it's for music at all. It looks like it's for some really bad VR video game.
It doesn't at all. I mean, does that make you want to run out and buy those new albums from any of those bands?
No.
Like, no, it does not even. Your mother was afraid of this. 5 bands so aggressive, you'll know they're not playing games, and so will the neighbors. I don't know about
Now this
Rush
game,
and bad.
This game, I'm not sure if it's the same one for Nintendo. I don't think it is. It looks like Drax Back in Town, Castlevania 2, Belmont's Revenge. I don't believe the second Castlevania for Nintendo has a name. I think it's just called Castlevania 2. So this might be a completely different game than the one for Nintendo. But
don't remember that one.
Castlevania games are fun and so infuriating. Deal a whole new hand. Over 720 brand new fantasy cards. Dragonlance, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd Edition, and Forgotten Realms. I've never even heard of Forgotten Realms. Dragonlance, I didn't even know it was a card game.
Yeah, I know. I was never into Dungeons and Dragons. I never got into any of that stuff as a kid.
I love this line on the back. The cards come 16 to a foil pack. They cost about $1. About. You don't know the price of your own product. It cost about $1. We're about to bring back a segment we haven't done in a bit. It's there was toys for that. Last night I watched the movie. It came out in 1995, I believe it was. I just watched it last night. I watched this for an entire summer because it was always on HBO. And I was like, this movie's amazing. And last night I'm like, I'm going to watch it so we can talk about it here on the podcast. I watched it. I'm like, Jesus Christ, when does anything happen? And then it finally happened and the movie ends. That movie, yes, there was toys for it. A little movie called Congo.
I remember the movie. I don't remember. I never saw Congo, though.
Well, let me tell you. Jesus Christ, is it long? And I remember enjoying it way more than I did last night. It is very campy.
It's like a Planet of the Apes ripoff.
All right. So Karen Ross, who we have right here, works for the CIA. She's trying to track down her ex-fiance, Bruce Campbell,
Okay.
who they can't get in contact with anymore because he's in the Congo. And little do you know, they only see a blur of something, and it was a white gorilla. And they're like, "There's no such thing as white gorillas." They go, "We know what we saw." Well, her with the help of what's his face from Rocky Horror Picture Show,
Tim Curry?
Tim Curry, who plays
The star-studded cast. Bruce Campbell, Tim Curry.
Yeah, and that one guy from Baby's Big Day Out, which that's all I know the guy. He's like bald.
Who played Karen Ross?
Woman from that's oh my god, what's that show?
Was it
The Jason Bateman show. That everyone was going crazy over. Oh my god, I can't remember her name or what the show was. Hold on, give me a second. I'll look her up while I continue to babble. So it also had the dude from Ghostbusters in it.
Ernie Hudson?
Yes.
I just instinctively thought Ernie Hudson because nobody else from
Ghostbusters would have been in Congo.
would have been in Congo, right? Like
It was Laura Linney.
Oh, okay.
She was in. Oh my god, it starts with an O. I can't remember the name of the show that she's in. But so they were trying to find some diamond that was going to save the world and bring them all this money, and then I'm going to keep calling him Rocky Horror Picture Show because I keep forgetting his name. Rocky Horror Picture Show lied to them to get there, found out that he's like killed. He's had like 3 of his crews killed trying to find this ancient temple where all these diamonds are. So you watch the movie for like an hour and freaking 40 minutes before they find the temple. And he starts having like hands full of diamonds saying, "Help me, we could all be rich." And they're like, "I'd put those down." And you see all these caves surrounding them, and all these white gorillas start coming out that look so ridiculous. And mind you, back in 95, they look terrifying.
Yeah.
2015, no. not at all. Sorry, Stan Winston. You made Pumpkinhead look amazing. These gorillas, no. R.I.P. Stan Winston. So
I take it Tim Curry gets mauled by white gorillas.
Oh, you got it. And they were notoriously known for crushing skulls because they found a big old pile of skulls. I'm like, these have been crushed, and every gorilla just goes and smashes skulls. You only see the gorillas maybe 10 minutes, maybe, and oh my god, the volcano erupts, and that's where it gets laughably bad, to where it looks like these people in monkey costumes are just doing cannonballs into hot marinara.
So wait, the white gorillas off themselves by jumping in?
Yes, it makes no sense. And they're no joke. Watch it. They're doing cannonballs. If you have Sling, it's on Sling. That's how I watched it. And I'm just like, why do I remember this movie being so good?
Did they save Bruce Campbell? Wait, Bruce
Oh,
Campbell?
no, he's dead.
Oh, he's dead.
He was Karen Ross found in a big pile of bodies.
So he didn't even make it.
No, not at all. But I can tell you this. The costume for Amy, the main gorilla that talks, she knows sign language, and they put this crazy robotic hand on her to where she talks through 50% of the movie, and it's so annoying. She just goes like, "Amy, good. Lady, ugly." That's what she keeps saying. She keeps calling Karen Ross ugly because she hates women. It's like, it's so stupid. So they did Peter Elliott, who... I have no clue. That might have been Bruce Campbell's character of the movie. I'm not even sure. They did Karen Ross, who's the main character. Kahiga, he comes with a battle bazooka, which they don't have bazooka in the movie at all. But she has this big, ridiculous thing. That's the crystal she puts into that. And she starts blasting those monkeys like there's no tomorrow. She has this big laser thing and she's firing at them. Chunks of their skin are flying off. And then the volcano hits and then they're just cannonballing, acting like meatballs going to that marinara. Monroe, I believe Monroe is Ernie Hudson. So then they of course they had to make it. Amy's costume in the movie is so awful. It's like, you're like, this looks like a friggin' Ben Cooper monkey costume. It's so awful. And then they made two of the bad monkeys. They made Mangler, who looks like he's wearing a bandit mask. And they made Blast Face, because they had great names. Mind you, a lot of people don't know this, and I think it's incredibly strange that they even did this. There was a mail-away Blast Face.
Jesus, I mean, who would mail away for any of this shit? Number one, but
they did a mail-away special edition of this stupid gorilla, which makes no sense. And I don't even know what the difference is, but it comes in a white box instead of a card back like this.
I don't even remember the movie coming out or ever be like.
It was Michael Crichton who did Jurassic Park. They took Jurassic Park. It was such a huge success. They did Congo, and they did Sphere. I never watched Sphere. The Net Trap vehicle, recycled from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kenner.
Yeah.
The Trail Hacker vehicle, recycled. Jurassic Park. Thanks, Kenner. Honestly, this might be the woman from Jurassic Park that they just recycled also.
Yep.
Because Kenner, Mattel, all those people were notorious for just recycling anything they could. So basically, she was probably, if I had guessed, it was either Jurassic Park or, oh my God, there was this alien line that they did that had humans in it. So it might have even been from there for all I know. But they had to make fresh Congo figures. Also, this is ridiculous. I think Toy Department in Cincinnati, if memory serves me right, they have Congo prototypes.
Who would? Does anybody buy this? Are these worth anything now?
No.
Because I mean, I can't.
That's like, that sealed in the box is probably like $40-$50. That's probably like $40. These figures are like $5 to $10 a piece.
Yeah, I can't remember if anybody has fond memories for Congo.
Oh, the Lost City of Zinj. That's what it was called. Lost City of Zinj. All it was, it looked like it looked like Olmec from Legends of the Hidden Temple. That's what the front of it looked like. And they walked in, it was nothing but a bunch of caves and a bunch of sand that had diamonds in it. And there was just diamonds everywhere.
Congo does not sound like a winner.
Hey, 95 it was gold. Now, not so much. I like how they also rate the movie. Because just in case you got confused on what it was. But that was they made toys for that. Movie segment of the week. There's certain movies I'm trying to track down toys from. I'm trying to get them like in hand. But I will tell you, ever since we did Dragonheart, we keep selling those stupid dragons at Monsters in the Toy Box. I don't know why. Someone just bought the big Draco. And my sister's like, why do people keep buying these? And I said, oh, maybe it's the podcast.
Maybe. I don't know.
So stock up on your Congo. But that's that. So I want to thank everyone tuning in and checking us out. Make sure to check out Time Capsule Toys. Make sure to check out, which is located in Niles. Make sure to check out Monsters in the Toy Box, which is located in Warren, Ohio. Make sure to check out Young Sound Studios and all the podcasts they put out. Make sure to check out BJ as he uses a chainsaw with Jackal on, what's the date again?
March 15th.
It's coming up fast. Get your goggles so you don't get any wood chips in your eyes.
Come see us with Jackal.
Jackal. Is it a jackal?
Is it a jackal?
Jackal. See you guys next week. Peace.